Hello.
Good morning.
It started sounding a little like church music. Okay. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Kristen Gutierrez. Thank you so much for joining. I am author of Be a Better Sales Leader. And I'm so excited because coincidentally, we're here to talk about the third pillar of my book, which is continuous improvement. But I want to just say welcome to Jordan. Thank you so much for joining us and tell us, for those of us who don't know you, which was me, I didn't know you like 6 months ago. Tell us about you.
Sure. Well, good morning, and it's a privilege to be here. I love our conversations, Kristen. So this is a fun format to involve more folks and dive into a topic that's also near and dear to my self, even though I didn't put it in an awesome book. I'm CEO of Language Network. I also operate a company called Hire Globo, and I'm an infinitely curious person. And I love learning and just happy to be talking about this over a cup of mate.
I know you drink that all day. Do you also drink coffee? I meant to I feel like you had like a cup of coffee when I saw you. Tell me about your
It's a
routine.
routine.
Yeah,
It's a
tell me.
routine. Let's see. It's self-medicating. So you get a decaf coffee. That way you can handle the caffeine from the mate later in the day. So you don't want to overdo it. So taste of a hot cup of decaf. And then once you get into work in the office, start pouring some hot water into this gourd and your mate and enjoy the hours of productivity that ensue.
Okay. I know it's like a really popular thing, mate. I am new to the world of learning about it. Some of my other clients and friends drink it as well, but like literally you drink it all day, right?
Yeah, I mean, I should clarify, there's a cutoff point, maybe 2 p.m. I've made the mistake of going past that, and then you're just productive into the evening and don't sleep. But this is a shout out. We have tons of team members across South America, but specifically Argentina.
Mhm.
And it's just a wonderful tradition that I've been introduced to, and it's a permanent fixture of life now, for sure. Highly recommend.
All right. So, continuous improvement. And I know a little bit too much now about your business, but I believe we're talking. So, like, let's just set the stage, right? Because continuous improvement can mean a lot of things from how a business operates and continues to improve, and how we as individuals operate within ourselves and for the realm of, personal growth. So, for you and your expertise today, which side of the coin are we talking about?
Let's start with the lowest common denominator, which is yourself.
Oh,
And a business or an organization is just a cluster of people. Um, you thought I was going to say a cluster of something else, but it's an organization of people. And if we don't learn to improve and evolve on a personal level, how can we achieve what we want professionally and personally? So I'm very passionate about that, and that's how I've gotten to my seat now as a CEO of a fast-growing language services company. It starts with you. And I think that would be a fun place to build our conversation from, this idea of you versus you. And it's so easy to get sucked into the world of me versus everyone, me versus my peers, where I should be, um, what I should have done, what I should be achieving, what I should be earning. And what do they say? That's a terrible place to be when you're shitting all over yourself.
true.
Can I
Okay.
say that? Is there a certain like level PG or R that we're trying to keep this conversation?
We're authentic. We're keeping it authentic. So
Okay.
you be your authentic self. I love it. I actually have just started reading a book. So shout out to my friend, Dr. Andrea Vitz, on the you've never met. It takes it down a little different of a personal development path, but I just wholeheartedly agree on continuous improvement and learning. So,
Mhm.
as like from your background and experience, like what what are some of your tips of the trades, or like,
Mhm.
what's your number one growth hack? Like, there's a lot of places we could take this, but what's on your heart and
Mhm.
in your
Mhm.
mind?
Mhm. Well, for me, this is just how I'm wired, but it's just this obsession with growth and learning and trying to be the best version of yourself. And so, not to get too philosophical, it feels like the best thing you could do with your limited time on Earth is try and be the best person you can be, and you'll make it a good one. So
Yeah.
that's the really philosophical piece that drives me. But on a more tactical, like everyday life, living in this information age where we have access to anything we want, can teach yourself anything you want. There's power in, I think, pausing and assessing yourself. Socrates says the unexamined life is a life not worth living. And so just getting centered on who you are, what's inside, and where do you want to go? What do you want to spend your time on this earth doing? And inevitably, we have to work. We got to feed ourselves. We got to pay our bills. Hopefully, we're able to earn and learn at the same time, and not just have compensation increase, but challenges in life. So I think having that discipline of assessing where you are and where you want to go. In the business world, we slice up a year by 4 quarters in 90-day sprints. And I think that's a great discipline as a person to look at what are my goals in the next 90 days? What do I want to achieve? And just starting from there to tackle your life and your world is setting goals, writing them down, just as a very fundamental thing. We talked about this ritual with coffee and mate in the mornings. For me, I journal. I look at what my goals are every morning for myself. Yeah. Yeah, it's an important discipline to find that quiet and get centered. So for me, it's the mornings, most productive. I think you touched on that in a prior conversation of asking when are you most productive? Make sure you use that time of day.
Yeah. Holy goodness, there's so much here to unpack. Jordan, on an emotional level, are we going to stay at a 1, a 3, or are we going to like a 7, 10? Because I'm just trying to feel you out real quick because there's so much here, and I just want to make sure I respect.
Well, I want to talk and hopefully add value to anyone who's listening.
Yeah.
So if it's going deeper, happy to go there. If it's just talking more tactics about continuous improvement, I'm happy to go there.
Yeah. You just said like so many. Yeah, go ahead.
It's both. I think connecting with yourself in a way is step one. To conquer the world, they say conquer yourself, and you're never going to be done, right, until the day you're gone. But I love the journey and the challenge of getting better, of believing that you're not stuck, that you can pick up a book from Kristen Gutierrez and it expands your vision of the world. You can listen to a podcast and multiple books. These were not planned. This is authentic.
Well, yeah.
But let me just share from my seat is like every day I'm listening to podcasts. There's so much airtime, podcasts around how to be a better leader that are relevant to my stage in life and career. And I think I've gotten to the place my skill is just in time learning. So the best time to get across town is not when all the lights are green. It's to start driving, map out the course, and you can look down at your map again. You stopped at the light, or pull over, pick up a book that's relevant for this season of life, and start working on those issues. Have a mentor or join a group that can help you see the blind spots, because on this journey of continuous improvement, there's sometimes we get stuck or we stall, and we need other people to point out what we're missing, what's keeping us from getting past our personal best. You could apply this in any direction, right?
I know. Yeah, I'm loving it. Like everybody, so I just realized there's like tons of chatter happening in the chat. So thank you, everybody. Like, give Jordan some amazing. I've gotten to know Jordan a little the last 6 months, a lot actually, the last 6 months consulting his business. And I say to him one-to-one and in front of groups of people, like, I'm so impressed with you, Jordan. Like, there's so many multiple layers of complexity in all the right ways underneath like the surface of you running this successful $10 million LSP and growing and going. And then just in the first 10 minutes we've been chatting, you've dropped so many amazing nuggets of content and like thoughts and like approaches to life that are good for us as individuals, yet are good analogies. Like you were like, earn and learn. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds so obvious once you say it out loud. I've just
Mm-hmm.
never heard
Mm-hmm.
that before or thought of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to pause and say thank you. And I think because this is being recorded, we have just you have just written a book. I mean, you have so much to share.
Thank
So
you.
I'm
You're too
like,
kind.
I'm only interjecting for the sake of like telling you to keep going, and everyone else is loving it too. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but the traffic light analogy and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and all the things and like the
Mm-hmm.
journaling and there's so many opportunities. What do you do at
Mm-hmm.
night? Like, I bet,
Hmm.
I mean, are you Netflix, binge a Netflix? Are you like scrolling on your phone? Are you learning? Are you reading? Are you like
Yeah,
regimen?
I'll tell a little bit more about like personally, and we'll take it. We'll see where this goes too.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, I've always felt like I can't fit in professionally. I've worked at some amazing places. I've worked at some really shitty places now that somebody says that's acceptable. And I think all of those are important chapters of life, in my career, and looking at why did I excel at that company versus, why did they fire my ass at this other place? And I've been fired 3 or 4 times. I think that's important for people to know that I've tripped and fallen on my face or on my ass, whatever way. They both hurt. Um, and, there were different lessons there for me. But the big thing is just keep going. And I think the takeaway too is on this journey of continuous improvement, it's important the environment that you're in, the people that you're working with that will support you on your continuous improvement journey, that will not be intimidated by your ambition to be better. And it's okay, you got to learn this process, right? There are going to be people that are scared by you and so learning to see the world where you get to extend out and the world's going to put pressure back, but giving yourself permission to just take up that space and show up. If you show up ready and engaged, even though you may not be prepared or think you're ready, the fact that you're showing up is the most important thing. And, somebody wiser than me said, you totally belong where you show up. So I'm trying not to get too philosophical, but you asked me about my day, and I think, or my regimen, I try and shut it down at the end of the day. That's important. Like resting, we can't just get out and pedal to the metal. There's different speeds, and that I think was hard for me earlier on. I worked at tech startups, and it's always about growth and push and get better. All of these things we're talking about. But learning to regulate and slow down, have a glass of wine, go outside for a walk. Finding those moments to get centered in your busy day are really important, whether it's a midday workout or an after work workout. Yeah, we can get caught up too, I think, in the let's go, go, go. I'm behind.
Right.
So on this journey of continuous improvement, it's not a sprint.
Right. That's great.
There was something else I wanted to say, and stop me if I'm rambling, Kristen.
No. No. Keep going. I can comment later.
Okay. We were talking about like schedule in the day and afternoons, just pausing. So that's been a good discipline, and my wife's helped me with that. Just help kind of regulate, and I think that goes back to the point of that self-awareness that I need to pull back a little bit. I remember what I was going to say. So for me, a struggle in my career was finally realizing later in life, I've got ADHD and my mind works a little bit differently. And I'm trying to fit into this world of screen time and 8 to 5 and be productive, and just the angst and negative self-talk that comes with trying to fit into this prescribed career, this work schedule, this work week. And that was really affecting my performance or my sense of self, and this idea, am I improving? I'm feeling stuck. And so working with and I'm grateful that I could have a therapist, help uncover, hey, you've got ADHD, and that's, a lot of people have that, right? Uh, and all those negative things that you've added, that your mind's picked up because you couldn't focus in school, or you were struggling in front of your desk in the office. That's all good, that your mind works differently. So start to schedule your day for those productivity windows of when you can jam and work. And I think that's what's great about this new era of work. Like, we can start optimizing when we work and what we work on. Did I lose you, or am I frozen, Kristen? Are we still live?
Oh, okay. I think we're back.
Yeah, we're
Yay.
back. Sorry, I froze.
No, you know what? This morning, we had no internet in my house.
Fire drill.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, we're back.
I don't know where we dropped off, but I was just talking about you fitting in and optimizing your day or your
Yeah.
work for when you're productive. Of course, there's some things that you get pulled into, like certain hours you got to meet with people because that's when everyone's working.
Right. I
But
like to hear you particularly say that, right? Because of conversations I've had with people, and I wholeheartedly agree that we should respect within the realm of acceptable when people's most productive time is. So one thing I love to do is help coach organizations. They often bring me in and say, like, how do we help optimize performance, for example? And the first question I ask back to the team is, what is your most productive time of the day? Which is why Jordan and I have talked about that. And it's not like you as a leader, what is your most productive time of the day for your team? It's like, what's the individual's? And this is what we're talking about, is individual personal development and recognizing. Because the other thing I wanted to come back to was like the rest, the season of rest, the time of rest, the mental health. I know the TBO Talent Forum, so shout out to them. They're doing a conversation in December that I'm moderating on work-life balance. And so this kind of all comes into that, because you're like, continuous improvement isn't a sprint. It's like a roundabout way. Your wife has helped center you a little bit more. Your therapist has come in. My therapist has come in, right? To say, like, how do we balance this aggressive growth objectives that we individually and collectively have with 5 p.m. comes, I'm a mom. I have to shut down my laptop. I have no choice.
Right.
That is the most humbling thing as a woman in her 40s, very young kids, to have realized this late in life. Like, I have no choice. School calls because my kid's sick, and my mother-in-law, bless her soul, who lives next door and is retired and is more than likely 9 times out of 10 able to help. If she can't help, I have to go, like every other working parent, to pick up my kids, and my day is done. Like, it's crazy. But to give ourselves grace and space, like you were saying, to rest, that growth is also about rest. I think that's really important. And growth is also about recognizing in ourselves these individual periods of time or months or seasons, quarters, as you said, right? Where we might be more productive in the morning versus at night, and allowing our teams the flexibility to get the job done when that makes sense. Maybe they disappear for 2 hours in the day to go work out. Like, that's okay. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just some color to everything that you were saying, which is so great.
Yeah, watch out, world. Kristen's coming. It's those are some great lessons. You've got kids to nurture and take care of, and in there too, you talked about finding time for yourself too, so you can go out and be and do what you want to do in the world, and help clients and consult with them. So you respect that so much, even if you say it took me till 40 to figure it out.
It did. All right. So, like, let's wrap up, because it's amazing. Like, you've shared so much, and this has already been 20 plus minutes. Any other burning, I'll just, like, generically, because you've been so great at just taking it where you want, but like, any other when we talk about this topic, like to bring it full circle, like how would you want this to end? What are some last bits of advice you would want to leave us with?
I'd like to say I don't have any advice to offer, just my experience, because it's always relative to who you are, where you are, what resources you have. But the point is, like, we live in a world where we have access to any information we want, but we're just drowning in what's my direction? Where do I want to go? Don't need to know like big picture, but maybe start. We just did a company offsite and leadership planning. What does 2024 look like in context to 2026 or 3 years out? So 3 years out was just far enough out where we could kind of visualize it, where it's not la la land, that we can actually start charting a path to get there as a company. So I think that's an important discipline of looking at 1 year, but maybe 3 years out. Like, where do you want to be professionally? What do you want to be doing? And work backwards. What do I need to get there? What podcast should I start listening to? What online courses can I start taking? Can I find somebody who's already doing that job that I want to be doing and start picking their brain, take them out to coffee or digital coffee? And just know that, finding a direction is, I think, the first step, pausing with yourself and picking a path. And there's no wrong paths. You can always go back and try a different thing. That's what's amazing about life. But don't just work and punch the clock and watch the Netflix. I mean, maybe for like the rest, if that's you, but yeah, let's make it a good one. Life is too short, and it's just so fun to think of your professional journey as twists and turns, and it's never a lateral climb up the professional path like I was sharing. Like, mine was like this, and then finally I found the sweet spot, and then that hockey stick kind of starts going up. Language network for me is a sweet spot. I feel like I'm offering my best to the company and the team and the world until we get to the place where it's exceeded me, and we'll get the next person that can take it to where it needs to go. So
Yeah.
oh, I had 2 book recommendations. Can I offer
please.
that?
Yes, let's end with that. I love it.
So The Mountain Is You. That one was put it up there on top influential books by Brianna Wiest.
Okay.
So it's transforming self-sabotage into self-mastery. And then the next book is The Courage to Be Disliked.
Ooh. So as you know, fun fact for everyone, I have a growth community in the background behind the scenes. It's pay to play. We're doing a free session here in like 4 minutes, right? So I probably won't see your comments, but we'll do another one before end of year. And I've put in there a bunch of book recommendations. This is why I mention it. The Courage to Be Disliked, right? So
yeah, by Ichiro Kashimi.
I'm going to pop these book recommendations in there. Now, let's leave with this. Do you listen to books on Audible, or do you read books, or you both? I mean, they say that the best way to absorb books is to listen and read at the same time. But I historically listen. This is one of the first books I've actually read in a long time. But I'm just curious, what's your take? Listening or reading? Or both?
Yes. The thing I'll say is I love books, but most of us say, oh, we don't have time to sit down and read a book. So I think the Audible or the audio is great. Put it on 1.25 speed. That's a life hack. And then if you really want it to cement, like, move. So go for a midday walk or something, and you're moving and your mind's going. And I find that the most, like, that's like a power hour of consuming and digesting. And then also the other thing with books is use them as references, like reading from start to finish. Like, look at the table of contents, and like I said, the just-in-time learning. Pick stuff up when it's relevant, because it's just your mind can't handle everything and remember everything all the time.
Yeah, there's a stat that like only a third of people anyway read a book cover to cover from start to finish, right? I too agree. Like, sometimes it's better to find what's relevant for you. But then there's this whole concept of net, which is no extra time. And because you've talked so much about rest, like, it's so important when you talk about net, there's going to be so much like about anti it. That's like, no, you need to rest. Like, go on a walk and hear nature. But like, as long as you're
Mm,
hearing nature and resting at other parts of the
mm.
day, I too agree that the most productive time to listen to a book is on your walk. And I
Good.
challenge you to up that speed even more.
Like
Yeah.
1.5x.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll text you later. I think mine's at 2, but that might be a little too fast.
Yeah, that's chipmunks.
All right, Jordan, thank you so much. This is amazing. I'm sure there's going to be a ton more comments on LinkedIn. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Kristen, for having me. And it's always a pleasure. Love what you're doing.
All right, I'll see you later. Bye.